Nick.
Johns.
The Romantic period was an artistic, literary, and intellectual movement that originated in Europe toward the end of the 18th century. Partly a reaction to the Industrial Revolution, it was also a revolt against the aristocratic social and political norms of the Age of Enlightenment, and a reaction against the scientific rationalization of nature. It was embodied strongly in the visual arts.
For me, the Romantic era begins with William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge's Lyrical Ballads in 1798. In the preface to Lyrical Ballads, Wordsworth wrote that literature should be the, quote, spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. In his poem, The World is Too Much with Us, you can hear his emotion pouring out on the page. He complains about the pollution and materialism of late 18th century England, then bursts out, "Great God, I'd rather be a pagan, suckled in a creed outworn. So might I, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn, have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn."
The Romantic era expanded tonal palette of music, exploring chromaticism, polytonality, and tonal ambiguity. This was a huge leap from the constructs and control of the previous two periods, the Classical and Baroque periods. The musical representations of emotions and feelings were amplified by the use of non-chord tones and chromatic exploration, and driven by fervent nationalism. To listen to other examples of Romantic composers, YouTube Beethoven, Mahler, and Schumann. Written in 1868, Brahms's Ein Deutsches Requiem, or German Requiem, was quite different from the Latin Requiem Mass for the Dead. Brahms is said to have been inspired to write this by the death of his mother and fellow composer Robert Schumann in 1865. Instead of Latin and the text of the Requiem Mass, "Grant them, the dead, eternal rest," Brahms says, "Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted." He took the texts for all 7 movements from the German Luther Bible, and the composition, his longest work, focuses on the living. A sympathetic humanism persists throughout the entire work.
In this over life-size painting, The Raft of the Medusa, artist Theodore Géricault depicts a moment from the aftermath of the wreck of the French naval frigate Méduse, which ran aground on July 5, 1816. At least 147 people were set adrift on a hurriedly constructed raft. All but 15 died in the 13 days before their rescue, and those who did survive endured starvation, dehydration, and practiced cannibalism. So what makes this work a seminal example of Romantic imagery? Does it reach beyond the classicist tendency for civility and order? Is it the intense emotions of apprehension and terror? Is it the exploration of the unfamiliar and a desire to imagine? The answer to these questions is assuredly yes.